you can't handle the heat.
IYCHTH, welcome back to another episode of You Can't Handle the Heat. It's your boy G Swizz. Join with us, Shoji. Shoji, how we doing, brother?
Doing good. You're screaming in my ear. I'd turn you down, but you're good. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Dude, I don't feel like I'm yelling. Doing good, Micah. Micah, how we doing, brother?
Doing good, doing good.
I said joined by us, Joe.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Dude, I'm so out of it, dude. This last couple of days I've been getting such I'm on a terrible sleep schedule right now. Absolutely horrendous. But
when you get on a bad sleep schedule, it's so hard to fix it.
Yeah, dude. I gotta wear my blue light glasses, I think, so I can don't go to bed at 3 a.m. every night.
Because you just like end up sleeping any time that's not practice.
Yeah.
At least that's what I end up doing, and then I can never fix it
man.
because I'm like, I have nothing like keeping me accountable to the daylight hours besides like a practice at like 4.
Throwback to our first quarantine too. That's what life was like. We had nothing really. But in local news, well, first of all, this is not going to be a solo dolo episode. We're going to have the Erik Shoji on here. Talk about many of the stuff we're about to talk about right now. And usually we don't really get political on the show. But this affects not just the volleyball community, but the world community in Ukraine getting invaded by Russia. First of all, does anyone have a Russian teammate on their team? Just out of curiosity.
No.
I have a Russian teammate on my team, and everyone keeps teasing me like, "Oh, Vitaly's you better watch out for Vitaly's gonna kill you." Gage are the same, so they're always poking fun. Because the Bulgarians, you know them, like the bullshit for sure.
That's so wild.
Dude, it is wild, man. Like I see like TikToks, like alarms, and like I sent this TikTok to you, like cat, like just like in helicopters flying above. And I know people in Burgos, Americans, but they're part of the army, so I can talk to them and be like, yo, like, is everything good? Like, what's going to go? It's just madness right now. I don't know what your thoughts are, boys.
It just seems like it's going day by day, like, pretty fast.
Dude,
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
Dude,
I don't
2
even
days
know
ago-
what to think.
Yeah, 2 days ago, all my teammates like, there's no chance they invade. I'm like, I don't think there's no chance.
Yeah.
And then things escalated because the day before Putin came out and basically recognized, what are the two names of the territories as independent territories. And so as soon as he did that, it became pretty clear that he was going to look to take military action. But yeah, we're not going to get like political. We just want to talk about how it affects more the volleyball community and exactly like athletes overseas, like how are leagues handling it, what are some repercussions for what's happening, and things just to update you, because we get written all the time now from people saying like, oh, what's going on, for our TikTok, DMs. So we just want to update you, let you know that our team, we are safe right now. Everybody that we know is safe. I don't know, is there anybody that we know playing in Ukraine? There is a Ukrainian league.
There's a league? No Americans, for sure.
Not anyone that I know of. I texted Micah, though, and he said that they're safe and he's feeling fine.
He's a big match tonight. I try to get him on. He's like, dude, we have a big match tonight, but he will come on like this weekend or see if we can get him on for next week. But yeah, I'm like, dude, so things are going as normal in Russia. He's like, yeah, we got a match tonight. His country the country's just invaded.
So in terms of geographically, Micah is bordering Ukraine. Me,
Micah, Christian.
You as in you.
Oh, I'm close. I'm like less than 3-hour drive to Ukraine.
Yeah, but they're invading eastern Ukraine. And you're
Exactly. That's the difference.
Western.
Is that, and from the capital, where I think like there's a lot of stuff going on. I think we looked it up 2 days ago. 10-hour drive.
Just do you think
it's nothing that I'm worried about, obviously. Well, knock on wood, golly.
So far.
But I was just saying that I feel like because it's going so fast, if the EU like responds in a kind of heavy way, me and Jill as well, but I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
And just like World War II, Poland got trampled because they were in between Russia and Germany. And so they were, a lot of World War II took place in Germany. In Poland. So,
dude,
that would be the worst situation, is if the EU starts to like get really strict with Russia, and then we're caught in the middle. But it is what it is.
100%.
We're just out here we're just out here playing volleyball.
Trying to
That's
win
crazy.
some games.
Yeah. All this stuff going. That's the crazy
Trying to
thing
move
is
in the
like,
league.
yeah.
At what
It's like-
point do we? Sorry, Joe. Just continue.
No, I'm just saying. I think I was going along the same point as you. It's like, all right, we have all this stuff going around. We're here at volleyball podcast, so we talk about volleyball, but it's also way bigger than how it affects volleyball. Like, who the hell cares how it affects volleyball? We just want to give you guys an update because we're like the least qualified people to speak on like political repercussions and how it'll affect, and we don't want you listening. So we're just like, we do have connections obviously in the volleyball world, and so with Russia scheduled to host the World Championships this year, that's a huge. We want to talk to Erik about that. What the rumors are about that. See if FIVB sanctions them in some way. Like they might just come out and say like, yeah, we're not going to be dealing with that and move it at this point. I don't know. I don't think it's too difficult to move because there's infrastructures in other countries around Europe to be able to host the championship, like Italy, like Poland, all these other countries. They could easily switch the location for that. But yeah, that's why we want Erik on. He played in Russia last year. I want to find out just in general because people always ask how Americans are viewed in Russia. He lived in Russia, in Siberia, out there in the middle of nowhere for quite a few years. He enjoyed his time. I know Micah Christensen has told me it's probably been like his favorite location he's played in yet, including like all the spots in Italy, which was interesting to me. He loves it. His son is in school now in this super like elite school. Micah says he pulls up in like his club car and then it's just like straight just ridiculous car. All the other parents are these like billionaires picking their kids up and he's picking Zeke up in this. It's what's the name of the school? I don't know, when you have like
An
when it's
international
all in English.
school.
It's international, but there's a
I
specific
know
name
you're
for
talking
it.
about. It's oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my
I don't
God. I
know.
know exactly what you're talking about. Quick
But
question.
Immersion? No, not immersion. I don't know. Something like that. But so yeah, I just want to get Erik on, get his perspective on that, see if he's heard anything on what FIVB could possibly do with that World Championships, obviously this summer, how it affects everything else in the volleyball world, his thoughts on it, a little update on his Zoxa team. They did qualify for Champions League, which was huge. Not a surprise, the defending champions. So a lot of pressure on that, on their club. But yeah, exciting stuff and crazy times in the world.
But two things before, really, really quick. First of all, Perugia, I forget his name, has a Ukrainian on the team. He's a lefty. He's the best Ukrainian, one of the best players in the world. What if and that's who Zoxa faces first round? Okay, let's say Perugia goes past first round. Is that Ukrainian and they play like Zenit St. Petersburg or like Dynamo? Who that? Is it Dynamo Moscow? Or no? They play. There's another. What happens then? Like he's not gonna enter into Russia. That'd be stupid. Like I don't know. Like what happens then? Also, forget my second point of things. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's welcome on Erik Shoji.
You can handle the heat. Yeah. You can handle the heat.
We're now joined by a friend of the show, USA Team National, libero, and the leading analyst / reporter of the Ukraine-Russia situation. Thanks so much for joining us, Erik. Thanks for hopping on the pod.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I don't know about that. I'm not an expert, but I can talk volleyball in any context. So let's go.
We want to throw you a curveball. Basically, we had a little intro before this, and we all talked about we have absolutely no right. Well, first of all, I don't know about you, but we woke up to the news, Russia invades Ukraine and everything, and we're not really political, so we talked about a little on the volleyball side and how inconsiderate it may sound, but we just kind of focus on the volleyball side of things. And we're like, okay, we knew Erik played in Russia. We know Erik knows more about the USA scene, about the international scene. So we're like, let's hop on here. But did you wake up to the news this morning, or how did you find out?
I woke up to the news. I woke up to Instagram telling me all my information. Yeah. And then I hopped on some websites and read a little bit about it. But it is interesting. Again, I'm also not like the most political. I refuse to talk about that on this podcast with you guys.
100%.
but it is interesting for the volleyball world. I'm not gonna lie.
So do you think
The biggest
Joe, you
thing
go.
for us, yeah, no, I was just gonna say the biggest thing in our mind was Russia hosting the World Championships and how that can affect that. So obviously that directly affects a lot of people. But I want to touch briefly just upon the reality of like Americans, because we got a lot of DMs just how overseas athletes deal with these type of stuff, and I just want to ask, like, in Russia, what is the general perspective of the civilian population of like Americans, for example, like when you were there? Because I think people in general have a distorted view of what that might be like. I spoke to Micah Christensen last week, and he was telling me how he's loved it and everything, but I just want to get your perspective in general, how the Russian civilians in general treat foreigners and specifically Americans.
Yeah, so I mean, to give a little context, I played 4 years in Russia. I mean, I know we've talked about this. I've also lived in like 3.5 different cities in Russia. So ranging from Moscow to like the north and then also Siberia. My general feeling was, on one side of it, I did try to keep a lower profile, just because you do hear about, you know, the relations and people don't really like foreigners, which I'm not going to say it's true, but you do try to keep a lower profile. Now, my friends on the team, their families, I directly asked them, what do Russians think of foreigners or Americans? And they said, we don't care at all. So that's like the general feeling from the people that I knew, like, American coming to play volleyball in Russia. We don't care. We really don't care what's going on in America. We don't have a problem. Everything's fine. So it was kind of the fear of it and trying to keep a low profile. But then my friends and people on the team, they were like, doesn't bother us. We don't care. So
Awesome.
it's an interesting vibe for sure.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah, like I said, we didn't want to harp on it. We just talked about it just because we had received a lot of messages and comments. The other thing is, it was interesting. There's an Instagram page called Overseas Athletes, and they're talking about how there's a lot of American basketball players in Ukraine, and all the clubs in Ukraine are telling them like everything's under control, the government's fine, and then now they're basically stuck in Ukraine. Like, there's a lot of players who are just stuck there because they could have gotten out. A lot of them live in some of those major cities that are under attack, and so that's the difference. Like, that's part of living overseas. Though we talk about that club, like, you don't know what's going on a lot of times within the club, like what's going on with, obviously, like, in your country, and you're kind of just along for the ride in a lot of situations. And so this is a situation where their safety could be at risk, which is a little bit more serious, obviously, than not knowing when your bus leaves or not knowing what your coach just told you to do. So it's just, it's kind of crazy. Overseas athletes, as people know, we talk on the podcast, we have so many crazy stories that happen all the time. So just want to touch upon that. We do know that.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
we had 3 USA teammates and friends in Israel last year when there was that huge conflict. I believe in May or April last year, where there were literal bombs and like anti-missiles going on above these guys, and they're taking insane footage. And I'm sure we were all freaking out. Like, I'm not really close with any of those, but I was still sending messages. Can't even imagine the amount of messages they were getting. Like, they had no idea. They just were there, and then all of a sudden it started. So it is kind of true. It's sad that we're kind of just living over here. We don't really know what's going on. And then there's all these conflicts, but it does affect us. I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm scheduled to go to Moscow in 3 weeks. So I don't know if that is happening. We're supposed to play Dynamo Moscow in Champions League quarterfinals, obviously a big match, a big tournament. Am I supposed to go to Moscow? Probably not. Like, at this point, me and David Smith, as Americans, even Polish people, they're in the EU, they're kind of against Russia right now. Is the Polish embassy going to give the Russians visas to come here? Who knows? Like, I have no idea what this conflict is going to do to Champions League. Perugia, who has a Ukrainian on their team, is supposed to go to Russia. St. Petersburg is supposed to go to Perugia in Italy. So it's all up in the air. I'm sure there's a lot going on. Am I told about it? Absolutely not. I'm just going with the flow right now.
And we talked about your Champions League experience, kind of like transitioning here. We spoke a lot about that. As we said, we're not experts. You should not be listening to anything we say relating to politics. We're just giving you a little bit of background in terms of like what we are experiencing just from today, general news, and what people are saying. It's crazy because we were talking about how everything is moving so fast, and like even my teammates like, yeah, nothing's gonna happen, and then there's boom, boom, 2 days, and so things move really fast over here. But for you, in terms of like Champions League, you guys got out of your round. You guys came in. Is it considered the lucky losers? I don't know. The three. I don't even know. Is there a name for the 3 second place teams? I've heard that before, but I don't know if that's accurate.
It's lucky losers / best seconds.
Okay, best seconds. So you guys were one of the top 3. How it works in Champions League for anybody who doesn't understand? There's 5 pools. The top teams in each pool get out, and then the next 3 second place teams with the highest amount of points get out. You get put into a pot. You can't play a team that you played in your pool, and then it's quarterfinals out, and you play a home match and an away match, 2 legs. Whoever wins that matchup wins and moves on to the next round. And so ZOCHTH, as Erik said, is scheduled to go to Dynamo Moscow. Really quickly, just in terms of like where your team's at, because you guys haven't lost in the Plus Liga. What has your experience been like just to this point in the season playing in the Plus Liga compared to the Russian league?
Ooh. It's different. A couple of things. First off, I think we all know being in first versus in Russia, I was always around like 5th or 6th. It's different. It's a different mentality. It's a different way of approaching every game. It's a different way that your opponents are approaching you. So we've all been in both of those experiences. We've all been winners. We've all been down in the table, I'm sure, at some point. So that's different. It's fun and it's challenging, and it's nerve-wracking to know that every team is like, we're coming after ZOCHTH. But like as athletes, that's also what we want. It's what we strive for. I do think Polish volleyball compared to Russia is different. It's a little bit more, I'll say creative, a little bit more like recycling, a little bit more tactical. And that's been different. In Russia, it was all about bombing. It was all about blocking. Like passing is kind of like last priority. Defense is like, oh, maybe. Like if you get it up, cool. So I think us versus Dynamo is a very Polish versus Russian match. It's going to be us trying to be creative and figure out ways to win versus them just bombing and blocking. And we know that. They know that. That's just how we play and how they play. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I'm not going to say battle. I think that's a poor choice of words right now. A very interesting game, but it's different. I think both leagues are strong. I think it's just different volleyball, and I've had to adjust a little bit and learn how to play, and it's been fun though.
Who's your favorite player to watch, like in the Plus Liga? Because to me, Plus Liga is one of the coolest leagues to watch. There's just so much creativity. Yeah.
Ooh,
I think you play with one of my favorites.
Question. Well, I play with like 3 of my favorites, or like 4. Like these are the guys I was watching last year. Like I had signed my contract, so I was watching a little bit closer. But I think like the surprise / he's my friend / I think he's a great player is Marcin Janusz, my setter this year. He I describe him like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of player. Like he's so casual. He kind of just like walks around. He plays the piano. He doesn't like ever shout or like laugh or scream. And then on the court, he's just like this fierce competitor that delivers the ball really, really well. And he's just a nice guy, a really good player, super solid. And I think when we entered this year, because we do have a different team from last year, he was like the biggest question mark that people were always like on, like, oh, Erik Shoji versus Satorsky, okay, national team players, cool. Like Norbert Hubert versus Kochanowski, national team players, cool. And then Tony UT versus Janusz. How is this ever going to compare? And it's been really fun to see him like feel that pressure and work really hard, and then just be a really good setter. I know that Mike and I have talked about him. He's just playing really well and in control of our team. So I think he's my favorite. I'm trying to think of anyone else in the Polish league. There's so many good players. I don't know. Do you guys have a favorite players, Micah, that I can like bounce off of you?
Joe, you had somebody in mind already.
Yeah, so recently, Semenyo has come, I don't know, I love watching, like, everything, like, technically, especially blocking for some reason. I love watching him block.
Yes.
And it's a really weird skill to, like, say that you love, but his technical ability to block is insane. Like, and obviously, like, he's super, like, he's just clutch in general. I don't know, the Zoxa team for me has always been, I think for everybody, when everybody thinks of, like, Zox as that crafty sort of KG team that's just extremely disciplined, and those are my favorite teams to watch. Slivka for all time has always been like a lot of players that you're playing with are really enjoyable to watch. And then just across the league, we said it before even Micah went there last year that you look at the Polish league and every single team there's just guys you never heard of that aren't on the national team that are like high level players are killing it in the Polish league. I don't know, Micah, you're in the league, so I think you have.
I like.
For me, it's just as a fan.
I enjoy like watching the physicality of some players. Like Takvam playing with Joshua Ninga is like pretty fun to watch, just because he is a monster, man. He is a monster. Ben Tata does some things. I think he's probably one of the highest blocks in the world. He's got to be up there.
Yeah.
Some of his triple blocks.
Saw that one last night.
Dude, some of his triple blocks, I'm like, he's like, people say chest over, but they don't mean it like him. Like, he's actually chest over.
His chest is over the net. His chest, it's like, his chest is over
Which is actually like, to really say that about people, I don't know that there's 5 people in the world that are doing that. I really don't think there are. So I think those 2 players, there's just some big boys, and I like seeing big, like Wukashik from Josh's team is big. There's a lot of physicality. I
think there's, like Joe said, there's a lot of players like you're not going to see on the national team. For example, Yastrzębia's middles, like you're not going to hear about them. They're not on the national team, but they're like consistently hitting 600 and blocking like a ton of balls and serving hard. So they're like kind of the core to their team, but you've never heard of them.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of league where a player is gonna come out of nowhere in a way and be really, really good. So it's a good league. It's a challenging league. There's a lot of I echo Joe's like to watch Semenuk play. His block is like beautiful. I know that, like you said, it's weird to say, but he just has really good technique in pretty much everything he does. And something that you love to see in playing with someone, he's also very professional and works his butt off. So it's like, it's nice to see that he's just not like an asshole or like a dick and just like doesn't care. He puts in a ton of work and you can see it on the court. So I love to see that versus like just seeing someone play well, at least he works at it.
I will say the Polish league, and it's probably different for you because you came from Russia. I don't know what their work ethic is like, but the Polish work ethic is like, in my experience, a lot higher than most other European countries. Like the European volleyball, not like stereotypical European volleyball player is not a big like weight room like fanatic, and these guys are pushing it in the weight room, and they even after they're staying and always doing extra. So that was something that stood out to me as well with the transfer, especially in France, where people are just chilling.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, in Russia, our workouts, even like preseason, were max like hour and a half. And I know Mike and I have talked about this, but getting here, it was like 2.5 hours of legit working. And for the listeners out there, like, I am not built to work out for 2.5 hours. So it was tough. Like, I've gotten used to it, and obviously like in week lifts are much different than preseason lifts, but boys, I was dying. Dying.
Yeah.
So they work hard here, and then, I mean, it's good to know at least like when you face them in the summer and they beat you, or like it's a hard match, you're like, okay, well, at least these guys work hard, versus some other teams you're like, I know that guy doesn't work hard.
The French, when we were training, I know, like, not to get off topic, but when we were in tour training for the Olympic qualifier, do you remember when we did the joint practice and we were lifting and these guys didn't lift a weight? They were just chill. Like, we had two groups. Like, the first team practice with their first team, and then the second team we would lift and then practice after. Yeah. And these guys did not hit the weight room. I've never seen a more like chill freaking second team that just sat in the stands, and all of us are like sweating, dying of like pushing super hard, and they're just, but yeah, they can play some volleyball. So
they can play some volleyball.
Props to them.
Yeah, overall it's been good. I mean, we have the Polish Cup this weekend. The semifinals are on Saturday and the finals are on Sunday. So hopefully we can come home with a gold there.
Who you guys matched up with on this? I didn't get a chance to look.
So we're playing Gdansk, who is number 9 in the league, and Jastrzębia is playing Resovia in the other semifinal.
Okay. And for me,
could have played
for your guy
in that semifinal, but
could have. Those guys kicked.
We could have had you.
Holy cow! Gdansk.
That's the one. That is one thing that's crazy about volleyball markets, because there's two perfect examples for me that is just like, for me, it's kind of mind-boggling of how that works. Because I was trying to think of an example of like some of the major leagues where that's happened. One is Kampa going from the league champion to a team that's not even in the playoffs right now. And then in France, Caen, who won the French league last year, was in dead last for like 2 months. And I don't understand how that type of stuff happens. Because in volleyball, that happens a lot, where budgets can just, like, teams make one bad decision and then you're in last place. But that shows, I guess, the strength of the league. And also, the Kampa one was really interesting. Like, he had, obviously, I think the deal had been done before the end of season, which usually happens. But to go to a team that's not even in position after he won the French league. He beat the team that won Champions League last year in the French championship, the Polish championship.
Yeah.
Can you, like, just in your opinion, where can the structure of the market improve? Because I have also an idea of where I think it could improve, as well as maybe areas that it is already pretty strong compared to other leagues and other sports across the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm that knowledgeable, but it is really interesting to see players sign in like August or September at the start of this season for the next season.
Jeez.
I know last season in Zaksa, like Zatorsky and Kohanovsky signed in October or November for Resovia for the following season. So it can, I mean, there are conflicts of interest, whether you believe it or not, if you sign a contract that early. And I know Grebennikov signed in St. Petersburg before his last season in Trento, even before the season had started.
Wow.
Or wherever he was. I don't remember. So consciously or not, like you're thinking ahead, whether, whatever. So I think that is really interesting. I think that kind of sucks. Maybe you could like delay the signing date a little bit longer, maybe at least make it in January. Who knows? I've never signed a contract before January, like during that year. So maybe that's one thing that could change. I don't really know.
It definitely can create.
That's a really good point.
My proposition is that June 1st, July 15th is your signing period, always for the following year, and maybe because that's every league's
want
done.
Like a period, okay.
Yeah, I think that would protect a lot of clubs and protect a lot of players from getting into something they don't want. Because you finish, everybody's done by that point. Champions League's finished up, and you give about like a 55 day period, 45-day period, where all the leagues, that's when you can sign in that period. And it allows everybody to really have a good understanding, because so many players, they'll sign something and then something will pop up and then they're dealing with the buyout clause. It's like in that period, everybody can sign from every league. And outside of that, then you have then there's other like whatever stuff and regulations that can happen if a player wants to like switch teams or something. But that's how I feel like it should happen. Nobody can sign for the next year before that, because I just feel like all the time stuff like that happens, and I think it kind of ruins the other markets at times, and it hurts the other markets. And just like markets moving at different places creates and I think it'll help protect the players in general, in terms of getting into something that they regret later on. So people like, obviously there's player unions in like these major American leagues and stuff, and I don't know the logistics behind that, but always protecting players' rights is, for me, in the back of my mind. How do you continue to do that? Because frankly, in the volleyball market, it's not done very well, I feel, through agents and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. You just hear a lot of stuff that's kind of shady. So, which is interesting. I know
there's a lot of business.
Yeah. I know we have to jump off pretty soon. Mike has got a quick turnaround today. I just want to ask you, in terms of like heading into the end of the season, like, is ZOCSA putting a lot of pressure on the team to win Champions League again? Is that something that you guys feel like coming off of obviously winning Champions League last year? What are the expectations for that? And then the French league, like, how do they present that to you guys as a club?
Polish league.
That's the most important thing for ZOCSA.
No, you said French league,
no,
Joe.
no.
French league.
Sorry. Polish league. Thank you.
In terms of Champions League, I have heard nothing in terms of we need to win or we need to advance. We needed to advance out of the pool. At this point, I have not heard a single word about expectations or that we need to have a certain result. I think the team, we want to win. And obviously they won last year and they want to do it again. But in terms of like the feeling from the club, I think we're completely free and feeling good about that. So that's cool. That's a cool part about this club, is that they don't really say anything. And the same goes for the Polish Cup and the Polish League. Like, there's the inherent pressure of being number one and always being in the final or being up there. But I haven't heard a single thing, like, whereas in Germany, I heard from the president, like, we need to win every game, that kind of thing. Like, I haven't heard a single word about that here. So it's a cool thing. I think they put a lot of, like, we want to win, but they also know that teams are good. Teams are coming for us, and we just got to work and try our best. I haven't heard zero about results. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, Erik, thanks so much for hopping on the show. We know you had a busy day today. And stay safe out there, and look forward to watching you in Champions League and in the Plus League.
I
Thank
know.
you, brother.
Thank you.
You can handle the heat. Yeah. You can handle the heat.
Friend of the show, Erik Shoji. Always good talking to him. Just a reminder, like I said, when it comes to politics, we don't know really much. But when it comes to volleyball, we can talk volleyball. So we're going to stick to our subjects there. But it's good that, it's cool seeing that ZOCSA, a high-end club worldwide, is like also like, it seems like they're doing a really great job of treating their players right, because you don't hear that about all the clubs, no matter how high-end it is or how great of a club it is. So it's good to hear stuff like that, because there are crappier situations out there. But yeah, good to see you staying safe. Boys.
Gage.
Joe, Micah.
I'm glad to see you safe. I would say most major clubs, though, take pretty good care of their players. They're not getting the top players because they're treating them crappy.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, they might put more pressure on here or there, but in terms of treatment, I don't think that's usually an issue with the major clubs.
Especially because the better players have a lot more options and a lot more power.
Mm-hmm.
So they just can't get away with as much.
You want to talk about power? Let's talk about the Lawnmower 4.0 presented by Manscaped. Power, precision, yet sleek and beautiful. Lawnmower 4.0. Joe, what is the promo code for our Manscaped listeners out there? Viewers or
Same
listeners?
one as it's been the past 2 months. It's volleyballs, all cap, no cap.
There we are. Volleyballs. And also, for a good time on and off the court, keep you nice electrolyted, use a promo code for Dr. Price Electrolytes. Add System 20 for 20% off. Telling the boys that Add System sent them. I don't care. You can send a letter to Dr. Price. You can send an email. I don't care. But tell them, I always hear on the commercial, everyone's like, tell them Jerry sent you. Tell them the Add System boys sent you. Okay. So, if you're ever going to reach out to Dr. Prices, tell them the Oos boys hit you up. And then you take some water, you take some Dr. Price electrolytes, and you make some Oos juice, baby. To be patented. We'll talk about that later. All right. Just remember, can't handle the heat. Get out of the damn kitchen. Then it's been another episode presented by Add System.